Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready?
Very, very warm welcome from my side as well to this special evening. And I think it's going to be a very special evening because you don't always get the chance to be part of a startup company right from the very beginning.
Wow, where have we arrived? In an era of change, and yet to continue to make use of our experience.
These are the options, ladies and gentlemen, and now it's your choice where you see yourself fitting in. Whether you say, it's nice that you're doing this, but please, without any obligation. Or, that actually sounds interesting. I'll give it a try. I'll become a customer at Biometric Payment Systems and register there. Registration was, is, and will remain free of charge.
We have made a conscious decision not to invest these millions or even billions in advertising like other large companies. So you won't see us on the sidelines at some World Cup or on vacation in New York at Times Square. We spend this money directly on the most direct and effective advertising in the world.
Never make it an obligation to recommend B.P.S to others, but whenever you do so, you will benefit from it.
Would you like to pay in cash today, by credit card, or with a fingerprint? The customer will say, fingerprint? How? Yes, just register. It's done in a minute, and you'll benefit from all the advantages. He goes home, buys winter tires in Norway, and the little pizzeria here earns a little bit from that revenue. That's the idea. Together, we are strong. We can all change the world, but together, it goes a bit faster and a bit better. If I already understand today what's going to happen here over the next few months and years, and I want to secure a piece of the market, and I just know that personally, I might know a few people in Vorarlberg in southern Germany, maybe in eastern Switzerland, but most of you won't know anyone in Korea or in Singapore or somewhere in Canada. If I want to share in the company's global revenue, then I have the opportunity through option number 3, through the B.P.S tokens, which are like shares, to participate in the company.
The question isn't, can I afford this? The question is, can I afford not to be a part of it?
Register for free and use the services. We have the second option, recommend and profit. We have the third option, participate by actively saying, I believe in this idea. I'm buying a share of the global market. I want to be a part of this. Not just the people here around Lake Constance, but everywhere in the world, whenever it's used. Just imagine how big this can become in the coming months and years. When we see that an aging credit card generates such massive numbers every single day, and then we have the fourth option, to build a side income, or maybe for those who say, like at the butcher shop, can it be a little bit more? I'm building a real livelihood here because I'm committed and helping and contributing to make B.P.S big and spreading this idea far and wide.
And I always find that incredibly thrilling too. It's so exciting to be there right at the very beginning of a brand new success story. And I've known this feeling for many, many wonderful years. For almost 50 years now, I have been actively supporting and I have been carefully guiding companies in the full development of their sales organizations. And when I ask people, "How are you?" then they say, "Well, actually, I'm doing fine." I say, "How are you doing? Like, really, really?" "Well, at the end of the money, there's still a bit a month left." Just listen around when you go shopping. What people are talking about when they're standing in line at the supermarket checkout and waiting. When they're talking to each other. Have you ever seen, "Hey man, look what a great day it is today"? No, they say, "Have you heard? Meyer got it at 120 into a tree on the avenue. They had to use a power washer to get him off." But many people see success as something evil. And so I invite you, if you perhaps came here because you're thinking, well, maybe I could build a successful business myself with this story, with the B.P.S system. If you say, "I'd like that, because what Oliver and his partners told us today sounds good, but I'm not so sure if I should really become successful now. Maybe I'll be one of those bad boys then too." What do you think about money? Money? Oh yes, money, 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 money. When we think of success, we think more needs to come into my life. More Mercedes, more Porsches, more Ferraris. Yet, on the path of success, it's much more important that I learn to let go. Change means letting go, and that's why people don't want change. They have to move away from something.
I see it every single day. People saying, "Yes, but." But it's difficult. But the crisis. But the inflation. But no money. Ladies and gentlemen, the same two children who could be an obstacle can also be the motivation to make something happen in our lives. And the moderator asked her, "Ella, how did you manage that with all those problems despite having two small children?" And then this small, frail woman grabbed the microphone, and she didn't just say it, ladies and gentlemen, she roared. And I can't forget that to this day, not despite my children, because of my children. What is the why? Where do I want to go? Because the how comes all by itself. If I drive from here to Vienna today, at night my headlights only go 40, 50 meters. But the further I drive, the more the path reveals itself. We get paid for starting and then for keeping at it. Henry Ford, as Michael mentioned earlier, once said, "Every person gets 3 real chances in life." Maybe this evening, this information that you've received today is your chance. For me, it was like this. This profession, as they call it, is the calling for me. Because it is freedom. I can do it where I want, when I want, and with whom I want. You know, the great asset in life isn't being able to do everything and being able to afford everything. The great joy is not having to do anything that I don't want to do. And don't let anyone steal your wishes, goals, and dreams. Austria is one of the most successful countries in tourism. There's a reason for that. Because we don't just have the beautiful lakes, we also have the mountains. Hiking in summer, we know that. Skiing in winter. And yeah, if a tourist comes to Tyrol now, there's no manager in a suit and sunglasses sitting in the tourism office. And the tourist then says, "I want to go up here on the mountain."
Then the manager says, well, with those shoes, it's difficult. Your physique isn't ideal either, a tough climb. So me, I'm not going up there. But I could theoretically manage you up there, because I have a smartphone today with GPS. Let's do a Zoom call, we can try that. Instead, they're a real deal Tyrolean sitting there, a mountain guide in short leather trousers. And when the tourist walks in and says, I want to go up the mountain, he just hears the word mountain and his eyes light up. He says, that's great. Brilliant. I can tell you, it's gonna be great. It'll be a bit exhausting, but I'm telling you. And he says, no, I'll lead the way. And then we'll have a traditional snack on the way. The journey becomes an experience, but when we're at the top, I can promise you, it's worth all the effort. The view and the fresh mountain air make up for everything. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know what the mountain guide doesn't do? He doesn't take anyone along who doesn't want to go up. I go out and give every person the chance to say no once. But they should have the chance to get the information. We're not in sales here. The product is far too good to sell, to convince, to sweet talk people. I'm not sweet talking anyone anymore. Just share the information and see what happens.
So I'll keep it really short. And what's very important for me to share is that Starowich gave his speech. And when you walk out of here, you feel like they're nice words, meaningful words, almost like a fairy tale. You go back to your daily life and feel like, yeah, it's happening somewhere else. But the fascinating thing is that without any preparation, as a business apprentice, I lived exactly that life. I received rather negative opinions from my parents and my relatives. They held me back and held me back. And for me, there was just this desire not to do a job that didn't make me happy, but to do what I wanted, because life is something incredibly precious. And then I started as a business apprentice with 3,000 shillings to build houses without a business license. I organized everything, set it up, had setbacks, but it was a joy to do it, and I lived my life. We built over 2,000 houses and apartments, and it was one single success story. I just want to say, it's about the fact that what was spoken today, it exists in reality. And I'd be happy if this is successful too, right?
Life is too short for mediocrity. Life is too short for mediocrity.
It's not about what people say, but about doing the work. Talking alone doesn't cook the rice, as the Chinese say. I have to do it. But I can guarantee you one thing, and that is the good news. Once you've had 100 conversations, you can't help but succeed. You must succeed. It's demonstrated to you over and over again. I'm someone from the field who sits with people, having conducted over 3,000 conversations myself. I'm not a theorist, I'm a practitioner. I see it time and again how people recognize an opportunity, people who hadn't even been noticed before, and they suddenly understand it and they take off. What happens to a person then is indescribably beautiful to watch. And finally, as a third gift, I have here for you, I think they say in Vorarlberg, a lolly, right? B.P.S. lollipop. Brought along, and there's a small barcode on the back, a QR code on top. You can scan it, and it takes you directly to our YouTube channel, where you have all the videos, explanations in all languages, everything to internalize it all once more. And at the same time, you also have a lolly in your pocket. Because if you go out and forget it all again and do something else next week and in 3 weeks, you don't really remember back. When you are asked somewhere in a shop sometime next year, maybe in the spring, cash, card, or fingerprint, and you might remember this evening, at least you will have something with which you can sweeten the memory. Everyone gets the Bitcoin price they deserve, and it's the same here. We're right at the beginning, and it's gonna be a great thing. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 things in closing. It's been a real blast for me. You could all have been at the Austropop finale today, at home in the garden grillin' or in a beer garden somewhere, but you have chosen to spend 3 hours of your lifetime here with us, which, by the way, you will never get back. I want to tell you one thing. I truly value you. Thank you very much. And the second thing is, please get home safely.
You can change the world because the world is in your hand, more likely in your fingerprint. Your fingerprint is unique, and so are you, and only you can shape your future, and we will help you. Biometric Payment Systems. The future of money has already begun.